Alright, so before I get too carried away, this probably just going to be one day, still waiting for my fittings to come in, and then the next day I'll throw it in this video about doing the fuel lines. But today, I'm just getting an idea for where I want to run the flex fuel sensor. So, there's one fitting I still need to order, and it's just to dash 8 or AN8 to AN8, both females, for this fitting here and the Y, so that I can put those together. So it'll sit about there, might be a little bit lower. I just have to keep in mind for the mounting holes on here that if I go too low, it overlaps a little bit, so I don't want to go too low and just have to drill through two pieces of metal. I'd rather just drill through the AC delete plate and not the firewall itself. So yeah, so it'll be right around that area. And then I was wanting to run the pass through, right behind the intake. Would have been ideal, but I just saw on Classic G Body Garage some guy posted his setup, and it looked pretty good. And he had it vertical, which all the ones you usually see are horizontal, but he had it that way, which looked pretty good. But I think I'll still have it horizontal, so it'd be somewhere in that area. I didn't want to do it too high up to mess with the fuel lines and everything. And then thought about putting it here, but I'm not sure how much room the windshield wipers need, even though 99.9% of the time when I'm driving this car, it's not going to be any rain in the forecast, but you never know. Also, with this fuel line, going to that fitting down there, I'm not sure the angle on it just yet, but I'll have to keep in mind of that same thing. But I think if it sits low enough about there, it won't even come close to the windshield wipers if they're ever on. And then I'll also do like a tie down right here. So remove this bolt, put the little P clamp in there, and then have that as a tie down point for it. So just one of those hose clamps. But yeah, that's about it on this side. So that's kind of how it's gonna look. And I was looking on the Elco, and the wires that come out of here, they'll pretty much branch off right away. So I'm not having to bend the whole wiring harness like at an angle right away. All those will branch off and they go their own way. So yeah, that's where it's gonna go, and it's a lot easier than having to drill the firewall. Just drill the AC delete plate. It's a little bit thinner piece of metal, but it still has enough support for it. So that's the plans on that. Also just mocked up the manual brake setup, or the reservoir or master cylinder. Just mounted that up to see how it'd look, and obviously I'm going to have to replace these brake lines. So I was looking at flexible lines like that have the steel braided, but I think I'll just order some actual brake lines, or maybe even just take these off, cut them down to length, and just slide them back a little bit. So we'll see about that. Another thing I was doing, something small, while everything's not hooked up back there, went ahead and pulled this old pressure sensor off. I know it gets a little dark with that on, but so I pulled that oil pressure sensor off. I'll be replacing with that one, just from Low Dollar Motorsports. So I'm running these on the Elco too, one for the fuel, one for the oil. I think they're 0 to 100 psi. Don't need more than that, I hope. But I also ordered this adapter, because you can see that the old one, different thread pitch, and the new sensor. So just for the oil, you have to order that adapter if you run it on top. If you run it on the bottom, I think it'll thread right in. So yeah, that's just a little update what I'm doing today, just some small stuff. Well, yeah, with the master cylinder has that little gasket behind it, so just goes behind that mounting bracket in the firewall. I still have to climb up under the or in the car up under the dash to attach that and to get the brake pedal attached. Yeah, just some small stuff for now. Waiting for a couple more fittings to come in, and I think the only one I'm gonna have to order, like I said, that female to female A&8 fitting, just to get that to sit right about there. And I'm kind of glad I did order one with the mount on there, because it sets it off from the AC delete plate. Before, I was trying to figure out how I was going to mount or at least this Y to it, and I just thought like some of those hose clamps, just drill it there, which is kind of tacky to me, have it sitting right up on it and vibrate and everything. So yeah, with this standing off, it'll definitely make mounting it a lot easier. But yeah, that's it for today. Like I said, I'll still throw it in as a second part of it's becoming pretty long, so the next video would definitely be getting the fuel lines and everything ran. But I wish I could find, like I said, it'd be like this, like the two fittings like that on both sides. I wish I could find one with that hole in there for the gauge, and then I'd run that gauge right there instead of up here. And up here, probably just put the sensor for it. But that's just one thing. I could probably find one, and yeah, I might look a little bit harder to try to find one, because it would be nice to have the gauge right here so I can see how much fuel pressures get into here before it wires off. So that's just me. I like it on the fuel rail, but I don't know. Or even with me changing on the setup up here, like crisscrossing them, it give me a little bit more play. So if I wanted to, I could add one of these. Obviously not on that side, just for fitment issues, but like right in here, I could add one of those here, or not add it, just put one instead. So put it here, and then put the 180 degree on top of that, so that way I can see how much fuel pressure is getting to the regulator. But those are just some things that I'll go over once actually everything's actually on. But just like I said, most of the time just thinking out loud, and just going through my thought process on it. So I did talk to my buddy. He's been busy, has some stuff come up with his cars, but he is working on the header, so I'm trying to do other things in the meantime. Not in too much of a rush. Like I said, I've been pretty lazy myself. Just have all those parts sitting in the trunk and nothing really going on in the car, just collecting parts. But yeah, let me throw these on there. I'll button up some other stuff and end up calling it a day. But yeah, that's going to be plenty of room versus the brake booster. Another reason with the manual brake setup, I know everybody's 50-50 with this. Some people say they work better. Some people say let's go with the brake booster. But once you start getting, this is a small cam in here, but if I were to do a larger cam and the turbo and everything, it doesn't take away from the vacuum from like the brake booster. So it looks good. I know my tape isn't the best, but that's all I had sitting around. No magnets or anything will stick to that stuff. So yeah, that's about it. Just thinking out loud. All right, so I know I said I was gonna have the fuel lines ran, but it was a mistake on my part. The 180s, like I said, I've ordered through this company a few times, and I like them, but like I said, it was on my part because I got a new phone, and you know, when you start filling stuff out for like name, email, everything, it usually autofills, and it had all my information on my old address. So I went through and changed most of it, but wasn't paying too much attention, and the street name came out wrong, and it threw my old apartment number in there. So didn't get shipped to the house, so I'm gonna have to wait for that to get sent back and then see if they can send it back to me. But like I said, that was my fault. And I did get this fitting in. I ordered it for somebody else, just wanted it to get here a little bit faster, so I have that fitting there, and that's gonna be a little bit taller than I thought, so I might have to drop it down a little bit. And like I was saying, with that bottom hole on the bracket, if I drill it too low, there's going to be an overlap from the firewall and the AC delete plate, so probably have to drill through both of those. But I might get lucky and get right above it, so I don't want the hoses sitting too high, but then at the same time I don't want that bracket sitting too low where I have to drill through both the firewall and the AC delete plate, so we'll figure it out. I thought about tilting it just a little bit, so if I angle it over just slightly, it should be okay. And then the hoses run pretty much parallel more than, well, horizontal more than at an angle. So that's what I might do, just have it at a slight angle, and we'll go with that. But in the meantime, waiting for the 180s, halfway through doing the oil change on the bike. So yeah, let's let that drip out a little bit more. Do like the old owner, I guess he did all his maintenance on everything, pretty much baby this bike. So when I bought it, it did come with the new oil filter, crush washer for the drain plug. I'm not sure what that strap is for, but then it did also come with the little filter adapter. Throw it on a wrench, able to get the filter off a little bit easier. So yeah, let me let that finish dripping out a little bit more. I'll swap out the filter, top it off, and then we'll be good. Did end up taking it into work yesterday. Weather's not the best today. It's about a 20% chance, but by the time I get off, it's not supposed to be anything, so I might take it out again today. So I might have to start switching up the rotation. Have this as the Sunday car, or the Saturday car, or my Monday. Blazer the rest of the week if it's bad weather, but all summer long probably the commuter bike, so to and from work, probably be on the bike. Really haven't been driving the Camaro too much, but we'll see. That gets me in trouble. Just got a little bit of a speeding ticket in it, so that gets me in trouble. Might stick to the bike on the nice days and get the Elko out more on Saturdays or the weekends. So the Blazer's just for the bad weather. But soon. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, I was going to throw it in there with the AC, or with the fuel lines all done, but it was a mistake on my part not checking my address. When I ordered the fittings, I think it's just 3 of them, but eventually I'm gonna drill the firewall, get the flex fuel sensor and bracket, and get all that mounted. Then I'm gonna drill the firewall for the pass through or the bulkhead fitting. So that's gonna sit right about there. So yeah, let me finish this oil change. Might mess around a little bit more in the garage before I have to go to work, but that's about it.